Welcome to the Walking Dead Maniacs. Your host Felix. Joining me as always is Tara,
Oh,
and I am Negan, and I am back.
Hey, everybody.
What's going on, guys? Today we're going to go over The Walking Dead Dead City Season 2, Episode 1, called Power Equals Power. And it premiered on May the 4th. Be with you. Opens up, cold open. Croat's crew rounds up walkers to use for ethanol. We did see this in a little snippet they released, I think about a month ago, how they use walkers and how they're making the ethanol with it. And it's pretty. I don't know the science behind it, but it seems logical. No,
Yeah. Yeah, with the little sluice tanks
make
and all that were there.
rotting material.
Yeah, and I
right.
like that they used Ace Frehley's one hit song after he left Kiss. So
It
the one song that anybody's ever heard of after he went solo, New York Groove. Right? It's a good song.
wasn't bad. They
Yeah.
just got it for the title, maybe, but
It's yeah, but I thought that first part was interesting because it does kind of show the mechanics behind what everybody's going to be fighting for in this season. That's kind of
yeah,
what we know, from the previous stuff that we talked about before. So anyway, the next section here we go back to the bricks, and the bricks. I don't know if we really talked about this before, but the bricks is basically the people from Hilltop left Hilltop and moved to the bricks. So this is the new
Yeah.
Hilltop. So Maggie helps Herschel with his dagger technique. We cut to Herschel's bedroom. Maggie talks. There's a lot of things going on here in the room because she
yeah,
goes to the closet. She pulls out the hat. So Glenn's old hat is there on the shelf, and you can see kind of the memories coming back to her. And then she talks to Herschel about the flashlight and how they used to use that as a
yeah.
signal after he um, found a lightning bug when he's little, and she thought she lost him because he ran outside in the middle of the night. That was kind of interesting. And it sets up a little bit about the relationship, Herschel being angsty teenager.
It seems like they're
I
getting
think
a
it,
little closer than they were in the first season.
yeah, I think so. But then there's still some questions there. I think, like what, because he spent time with Dama in
There's
there, and
something going on there
what
that's
hold
really
does
weird.
she have over him? Or yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
So that's it in the room. So then we cut back to the city again. We find out Negan's spent some time in a cell. He wakes up in this little prison cell underneath the church, I guess. Um, and the Croat shows up after he has a little interaction with his guard and gets a delicious looking plate of roasted cockroaches. Hopefully they're roasted because they look pretty gross.
They
Uh,
ate real
and then
cockroaches.
they look like real cockroaches. Ugh, so
No, he
gross.
ate a real cockroach.
Oh, did he really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, he did.
Okay. Phew. Um, all right. So then the Croat shows up with his guys and tries to convince Negan again to lead the group. Uh, and they, again, doesn't make any progress. It seems like this is something that's happened multiple times. So, and then the Croat takes him up to see the Dama.
Yeah, on that first part, I think that was the hat Negan gave Maggie to give to Herschel, the New York City hat, or was it
Yeah, I think
Glenn's
it
old
Oh,
hat?
was.
right, right. That was the one he said he found in a
One of the shops.
tourist trap or something. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
What I thought was cool is Negan's guard seems to like him because he busted out playing the violin for him. He
Mhm.
gave him extra cockroaches, so he
Yeah.
seems to be pretty cool on Negan. I wonder if that's going to come back later on. And one thing Negan tells the Croat when he tells him no, when Croat comes to his cell, he won't lead them. Is they're talking? He's bringing up Herschel, and Negan's like, "She's a mama bear. She'll rip your
Right.
throat
Yeah.
out with her teeth." And right away, I got a flashback to Rick doing that to the Claimer. So I
Yeah.
thought that was pretty cool too. But
Yep. Yeah.
that's what I
Definitely
got
a
from
good
that section.
statement. Definitely a good statement about Maggie's ferocity when it comes to protecting the kids. But then too, I like his other. He's like, why would I want to leave? I've got a nice bed. I've got delicious gourmet cuisine,
He's
and
got
really
music.
accomplished what he wanted to do. And he feels like this is penance again for his past sins. He's where he should be right now.
Yeah.
run, Maggie, Jenny, and Herschel hear vehicles approaching and run back to the bricks. By the way that she looks, I'm assuming that she knows who's coming. And the governor from the New Babylon Federation arrives. Pearlie is among her crew, and he's taken credit for killing Negan. Pearlie explains that they need volunteers to help bring New York City back. And so I guess this is the first time her and Pearlie have seen each other. I think it's
Since I'm
been a
assuming.
year since her and the kids have been back.
Okay.
Pearlie has gone up in the ranks
Colonel.
because he says he killed Negan.
Right. So this is kind of interesting, and I had to stop it and rewind it a couple times just to look at this. So the sign itself says, the bricks, a member of the New Babylon Federation, but down in the bottom corner it says something very interesting that we haven't seen at all in any of these series, and that is 17 PDI. So that's sounds like some way of tracking time. We have, AD, BC, so this is PDI,
Oh,
17
okay.
years post dead incursion, post dead invasion. What exactly does PDI stand for? We don't know for sure, but yeah,
So it's
it's
been
interesting.
17 years, and it's basically is telling us about.
Yeah,
So, and I also liked the way that Maggie, she made it a real point to tell them that she didn't want to be part of the Federation. She didn't sign up
yeah.
for that willingly.
I didn't vote
It
for that, she said.
seemed, yeah,
So it's a whole
it
lot like
seemed.
the Commonwealth, honestly.
Right.
After back in New York City, after explaining their plan to Negan, the Donna and the Crow ask him to implement it for them. He turns them down again, but the Dama has an ace, or should I say, a Annie and Joshua up her sleeve, because she brings up basically that she's captured them and bringing them to New York City. So that pretty much made Negan. I mean, he can't say no to that. It's his family, literally his wife and his
Right.
son. So
Yeah, but I think that it's very interesting the way he looks at that point. As you can tell,
he was
she
pissed.
done messed up.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is Negan who says, "Okay, I'll go along with you right up until I can kill you." That's it.
Basically,
Because
Right.
he has realized that the only way he's going to get out of this is if he takes them out. And so he's going to come in, he's going to take control, he's going to get rid of them. That's what he's going to do.
and then when the people that own the different parts, or not own but run the different parts of New York, when they were watching that fight, was it Walker against Walker or Walker against human? It was Walker
Uh,
against Walker.
Two
Okay,
walkers. Yeah, they had the cool spike things on their helmets
yeah.
so that they would run into each other and spike their brain. Yeah.
Why were they going at each other then if it was Walker against Walker? Because they've never done that before.
I didn't understand that either because walkers don't
Yeah.
go after another walker. So
Exactly.
I
Right.
was thinking this has to be a person and a
That's what I
walker.
thought too.
Um, yeah, I thought. So I'm sorry. Going back to if we can go back to one
That's
thing
fine.
there when he's talking to the Dama, he says, she hands him the bottle of gin, and you're a gin man, right? And and he's like, oh yeah, and he holds it, and he kind of, you know, thoughtfully holds it, but then he says to her, I swear we just had this conversation a couple months ago. You know, like,
Yeah.
so this is not the first time they've presented this to him.
The reason why he didn't accept it was because he said it was too, basically too
Too
rich for him.
expensive for his taste. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, but it was interesting 'cause she did give him because she said, "You're a gin man." They've done their research, and he says, "Yeah, I am." And she gives him the whole bottle, and then he says back to them, it's a little too expensive for my taste." But I thought that was kind of an interesting interaction because it's just showing how much he doesn't want to do this, and then they spring the whole Annie and Joshua thing. So
Right.
anyway, we move on to the next section there. Back to the bricks. Herschel is explaining to one of the governor's crew. I can't remember the kid's name, but he's like the scribe.
Thing. Yeah.
He does all the map making, note taking, all that stuff. Is just trying to catalog everything that's going on.
Basically,
He's
he's the
like,
net. He's a red shirt.
yeah, right. Although he may have a more important role, we'll see. But he wants to explain kind of New York City, and because the kid's like, oh, there's all this, and
All excited about it.
Herschel's
Yeah.
like, you've never been there because I've read these books and I've done all this, and he's like, what? And he's like, you have? And so then of course he starts telling him all the cool stuff. But Maggie confronts Pearlie in a way because she's like, this is what has to happen. I'm gonna be the one going and joining and nobody else. Otherwise, as if I'm, what does she say? If I'm treaty bound, then I need to tell your superiors that what really happened to Negan. So
Yeah.
I thought that was
Right.
kind of an interesting little thing. Of course, he's Colonel Purley now, right?
Right.
Then she also says she knows why they want New York. They want the methane because their ethanol's running out. She could tell from the moths. I thought that
Yeah.
was kind of interesting. The moths eating and
I
killing
was
the.
wondering what the moths were because she's seen them several times before this spot, and then after she says that, I'm like, oh, that makes sense now.
Yeah, destroying the corn crops. So I thought that was kind of neat. So then, yeah, then Maggie volunteers to go to New York if they didn't force any of her people to volunteer. That was kind of her one condition.
Yeah. So the
I,
Croat gives Negan a new and improved Lucille, and when Negan turns it over, there's a button on it. As and Maggie and Jenny face off to kill 20 walkers. Maggie's gonna do it herself, and Jenny just forces her way in and helps her. So Jenny's going with them as well.
and then
Um,
at the thing Negan puts on a show, basically Negan is back.
Yep.
Honestly, he doesn't like it, but Negan fucking likes it. Negan
right,
likes being Negan. You can just totally tell.
Yeah. Well, he said before, I don't. That's the person I don't want to be.
right.
He doesn't want to be that person again. He knows. He knows
But
the
it
old.
feels good though. It feels good.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and he even kind of resists the fact that he gets the new Lucille. He doesn't want it. And
Right.
it's not
You know
until
what's
Chris.
telling? And it's after this next section. We'll get to it right now.
So Christos is the leader of the one gang, and then I can't remember the other guy's name, who runs the fancy guy, who runs the other gang. But Christos is, like, we're done with this. We don't want to team up with you guys or anything. It's kind of that getting up in his face and challenging his authority. When Christos challenges Negan's authority, because Negan knows he's been appointed to be the leader of the Croats group, and he needs to show because he knows he needs to put that show on, and so he grabs the bat and looks at the button because he doesn't see the button before. The Croat tells him it's just like the original, but I made a few modifications. So we know at least the one thing because it comes up here, but the Croat is like, or the Christos is up in his face, and Negan takes it pretty calmly,
Yeah.
but when he puts the bat down in front of him and he reaches up and grabs it, then something's going to happen. And when he pushes that button and zaps the crap out of Christos, so some kind of electrical charge through the barbed wire, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. I wonder if there's anything else he did with it other than that, and
Yeah,
if
because he
that
said
opened
a
up.
few. He said a few modifications, so we'll see. Yeah. Just gonna say, going back to Maggie and Jenny fighting the walkers. I thought that was interesting because the the governor and her second in command said they wanted to test her because Hurley came to him and said, "Yeah, she's worth 20 soldiers," and so when she comes out, she's ready to take on 20 soldiers, right? And then they're like, "No, no, no, you're gonna take on a corral full of walkers instead." And she almost does it. I mean, between her and Jenny, they almost do it.
Yeah,
And it's pretty good. It's pretty intense, though. But you can
Yeah.
tell the ferociousness of Maggie coming out again, which is pretty good.
and also with Pearly being kind of like oh shit about it because he runs up to her and tells her, "I just now found out this is what they meant."
Right.
Yep.
So he didn't mean to put her in any danger. But yeah, Jenny, like the deal was anyone that doesn't want to go, and Jeannie
Right.
wants to go, so they're not really forcing her to go, which is why she was there.
So
That's
Herschel doesn't want Maggie to go to New York City. He's kind of like, why can Jenny go and I can't? And I think Maggie's statement there is very interesting because you're my son. And again, it shows that Maggie will do anything for him and to the expense of anyone else, just like she did in season one. So Maggie confronts Herschel about his drawings, and she's like, "What's going on here?" She looks at the picture of the Dama. What's going on? What is this all about? And he's like, "Oh, it's just pictures, just drawings." So that was interesting. Then we flip back to Negan again, back in Manhattan. He enters the room. He just mic drops Lucille.
Yeah.
An angry Herschel, and okay, and then we go back to Herschel learning how to do the dagger technique. But there's something in between there when, oh, after is it right after the dagger, right, where he looks at the pictures, and
Yeah.
that kind of leads out to the outro, which is kind of interesting. Yeah, so I mean that's the last part, but I thought that was interesting is that he specifically picks up the picture of the Dama and looks at that and kind of longingly like I want to get back there. So what again, we have to ask what hold does she have over him or what did she do to him, while he was there. But then the picture of New York City and the buildings and everything, that was really neat the way that transitioned into the
They're drawing
flyover
into, yeah.
of Central Park. Yeah. So
Yeah, so in a nutshell, we find out that that's basically going to be what this season, at least the season, is going to be about. The Babylon wants to take over New York for the resources. Basically, they need to band together to not let Babylon come and take it over. Basically,
Right.
with Maggie and Negan being in the middle of all that. I like that there's actually a point to this season, if that makes sense.
yeah.
I thought
Yeah.
this episode was just out of all the new series, I think it was one of the best ones as a first episode. And Herschel, that last scene with him throwing the dagger and doing it his way and actually doing it, making it, I think that's showing us that he's going to end up doing something his way. It's like a pretext to something else in the season where something else is going to happen. He's going to need to do it his way to get
Yeah.
through it. But I'll give it a good 3.5 ish. Gino, last thoughts and what do you rate it out of 5?
Was one of the better ones also, especially with some of these spin-offs. So I thought the buildup for this one was more exciting. So I would say it's about a four, 4.5.
Well, that's what's up, Aaron.
I gotta say the fact that Negan's back as Negan again, that makes it a 5 for me. This was an awesome episode. This one I felt like they have had the characters figured out. They had a plan for what they were going to do. Like I don't feel like they had a plan last season. This time they definitely have something solid. Um, that was funny from Negan's speech.
It was
Negan's speech on
awesome.
this
It
was
was
excellent.
awesome to see Negan back as Negan. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was pretty
Yeah,
cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, you know what's telling too is Lucille, the way he handles her, because he just walks into his room or cell and just throws it on the floor. Before he would sit it on a chair, he would keep it with him or by him, and he walks in and just throws it on the floor. And I thought that was really telling. That just shows again back to my notes. He really doesn't want to have anything to do with this shit. And
yeah,
hopefully Maggie sees that right away, because if she sees him that he's actually Negan again, she's
yeah,
gonna flip out.
yeah,
In these little bits and pieces, they're trying to make us even more forget the introduction to Negan. They're trying to explain it away. Everybody's killed somebody's parents, and
yeah.
everybody
Agree.
has, done these things. It wasn't just him doing it. They were all doing things to stay alive. I think they're trying to smooth it over even still.
Yeah. Well, I think too, we see that there is this time gap, and the more we see about Maggie and the more we see about where Negan is now, the more they have come together as almost, such similar. Despite how they started out, they've ended up the same. And I think that's what
I could see
they're trying
that.
to make clear is they are, you know, regardless of how she feels about him, she's just like him in this world because it's about survival. It's about now she has become the Negan protecting her people. She's going to go do something. Who knows what she's going to do? Maybe something horrible in order to protect her folks with the bricks. So we'll see.
Negan went to Alexandria afterwards, and he said something about the widow, and they don't stay widows very long. If they bring that to the screen, I'm going to be really upset.
I don't think they are. I think they're gonna toy with it, but I don't think they will.
That's too much. Do you hear me, Scott Gimple? Too much.
All right, guys. But tell us what you thought of Dead City season 2, episode 1 down below. Are you guys watching it? Did you think it was better than last season's? We all here think it's just way better than the first season. Got a story, a stronger story that we want to follow. And there's going to be a war. Who knows? We might even see Maggie's going to go to her friends and ask for help. Who knows? But
Yeah.
for Tara, I am Negan, and I am back. Ricky D. Grimes here, saying, see you next time.
Y'all.